Hello. Today we will discuss vaccine geopolitics in present times of coronavirus pandemic. Firstly, let's take a look at why vaccines are needed. Number one reason is pandemics or diseases which spread throughout the world, such as the Spanish flu, plague, smallpox, and the current coronavirus pandemic. They challenge human survival, eliminate large chunk of human population. So to avoid this, we need vaccines. Second is WHO or World Health Organization says health is a human right, which means without a healthy body, one cannot have a fulfilling life. So sound health is the most fundamental criteria for human existence. Third point is that pandemics they lead to acute hunger. Why? We come to the fourth point because economies fall and job losses happen, and then this impacts the already vulnerable and marginalized groups such as women, youth, elderly, minorities, etc. And lastly, all of these livelihood interests of marginalized gender equality, they are human rights. So vaccines are required so that one develops immunity against the disease, and as a result all these basic rights are not threatened. Now moving on, what are the various vaccines which have come against coronavirus? Number one is Janssen by Janssen Pharmaceuticals, the vaccine arm of Johnson and Johnson, a firm located in Belgium. Then number two is Novavax by Novavax Inc. located in Maryland, USA. Its copy is being made called Covovax by the Serum Institute of India, headquartered in the city of Pune in India. Then another vaccine is Moderna by the firm Moderna. It is again from USA. Then there is Pfizer by the pharma company Pfizer from USA in collaboration with German pharma company BioNTech. Okay. Then there is AstraZeneca by UK's Oxford University, and this is being produced in India by the Serum Institute, as mentioned above, as Covishield. Then Russia, Gamaleya Institute has brought its own vaccine called Sputnik 5. In India, a pharma company called Bharat Biotech has brought Covaxin. Lastly, there are two Chinese vaccines. One is CoronaVac by the firm Sinovac, and the other is Sinopharm, manufactured by China National Pharmaceutical Group Corporation, or Sinopharm, based in Beijing, the capital of China. Okay, so these are our vaccines. So now let's take a look at what exactly is happening as part of our topic vaccine geopolitics. So it is geopolitics or power politics or the principle of might is right which is driving vaccine availability and not equity or equitable distribution among world citizens. Now World Health Organization, for instance, along with major states and stakeholders, set up a COVID-19 vaccine global access facility or COVAX with the agenda of equitable access worldwide. But what happened was that narrow nationalist thinking crept in. As also explained by the realist theory of international relations, so vaccine nationalism, vaccine grab or diplomacy, or vaccine balance of power were witnessed, under which countries with means to make or purchase vaccines locked up global manufacturing capacity as well as supplies. So, the fundamental question which arose or has risen as a result is when would the low income countries, the countries of global south, get these vaccines? Okay. Now, let's explain this geopolitics and its impacts further. First, let's discuss COVAX a little and how it was negatively impacted by narrow national interests. So, WHO is a UN body responsible for cooperation in international public health. It believes in the principle of vaccine being a public good, that is, it should be equitably available to all for free. All means all of humanity. Okay. Its infrastructure is spread out in many countries, and to deal with current pandemic, it came up with COVAX, under which financial support from high income nations is to provide vaccines to over 90 developing countries. So, this initiative itself is supposed to provide a billion doses to Asia during 2021, and this amount is expected to exceed the doses made available by bilateral vaccine diplomacy and the Quad initiative. I have already made a video on Quad, would link it in the description box. So, what happened? All these efforts were bottled. WHO's global leadership in health matters is challenged by rich private organizations or pharma companies. Actually, small number of countries and firms produce vaccines and rest are dependent on them. And the countries started indulging in vaccine hoarding. Trump administration under its America First policy refused to participate in COVAX. US President Donald Trump said China has too much influence in WHO, and other states in West are also are hoarding their vaccines and not releasing them for broader usage. Okay. Now let's see what is and how vaccine nationalism is transpiring. So, as Western states stocked vaccines for home use, China exploited this global access crisis to advance its foreign policy interests associated with the One Belt One Road or OBOR. In fact, China, India, and Russia have deals to provide their vaccines and have made donations of vaccines to many countries. In competition with China, India has donated vaccines regionally, and Russia has also sold and donated in Asia and Europe. Seeing all this, at the G7 summit in February 2021, which has rich Western countries as participants, the leaders expressed unhappiness about China and Russia gaining influence through vaccine diplomacy. They also raised questions over safety and efficacy of Chinese vaccines. So, what has happened as a result? As these democratic and authoritarian countries indulge in vaccine diplomacy or increasing their influence via it, in the Asia Pacific region, which is a significant region as far as geopolitical games are concerned, way more vaccines are being received compared to other regions of the world. For instance, Africa is getting very little vaccines. Okay. Then, the leading response to China's vaccine diplomacy has come from Quad in its 2021 summit. It is to produce 1 billion doses for the Indo Pacific region by the end of 2022. It will again increase access in Asia. Now, what else? To compete with China, Biden, the US president, has pledged US $4 billion to COVAX, and his administration also hosted a COVAX funding event in April 2021. And due to geopolitical concerns, other G7 countries also made more commitments to COVAX in 2021. So, only to counter Chinese influence in the Western world has started repaying attention to the collective initiative of WHO, which we discussed just now, and not for reasons of justice or equity. It is also said that as new coronavirus variants emerge, there would be even more competition for vaccines. Now, another layer of competition is being provided by those who have the money to buy the vaccines. We can also call it another platform of geoeconomics. So, for instance, without balance of power politics playing any role, we saw during the H1N1 influenza pandemic in 2009 that high income nations secured the lion's share of vaccines, preventing global equitable access. This also shows the role of pre existing trade relations or geoeconomics. So, those who have pre existing trade relations purchase vaccines under this, and those who are not as connected are left behind. Okay, so who are these countries which have taken advantage of geoeconomics in vaccines? These are typically EU or the European Union and other affluent states such as USA, Canada, Israel, Qatar, UAE, and Bahrain. A According to an estimate, out of the 700 million doses administered globally of the coronavirus vaccine, over 87% have gone to high income or upper middle income countries, while low income countries have received just 0.2% of these. Another topic which we should discuss is that of the intellectual property rights. They also add to the inequality in vaccine spread. So those in global south, that is majority of WTO or World Trade Organization's members, including developing and least developed countries and NGOs, say that WTO's IP or intellectual property rules were acting as barriers to faster production of vaccines. What happens is that major pharma companies get patents because they invest in research and development of branded drugs. As a result, these branded drugs are very expensive, and once their patents expire, generic cheaper drugs can be produced. So everyone can avail them, even those in poorer countries who don't have high incomes. So many of the countries in global south demand that for critical diseases or more deadly diseases, the patents should be waived before time. They should be done away with. So only after waiver can generic cheaper copies be produced for mass availability. Okay, so Global South demands waiver over coronavirus vaccines. In October 2020, India and South Africa, very much part of Global South, approached WTO to waive parts of the agreement on trade related aspects of the intellectual property rights or the TRIPS agreement. They argued that the temporary suspension of patent rights would help to secure the timely access to affordable medical products, including vaccines. But in February 2021, developed nations rejected this. They said such waivers would only stifle innovation at pharmaceutical companies, especially with the mutating virus. So, the big pharma companies, the developed countries which house them, say need these patent monies as incentives to make better vaccines to defeat the virus. More recently now, the news is coming that USA has shown a change of heart and said that it would agree for waiver at the WTO. Now, what is the impact of all this geopolitics in the name of vaccines? Number one is a Cold War has started for vaccines, a race due to which disproportionate attention on the power politics behind vaccines is taking focus away from the real issue of access to good healthcare for all. Now look towards your right, and this competition is also driving the prices of vaccines higher. Then, it has further increased the global north south divide. Whereas North is moving towards herd immunity, South is still waiting for vaccines. It is believed that wealthy countries will see wide dispersion of coronavirus vaccines by March 2022, and so would the middle income and emerging economies, but the poorest countries would only see this an year later in 2023. Then new patron client relationships have emerged. In Cold War, for example, patron client relationships were there. USA would provide security as the patron to its smaller clientelist regimes. Same way today, generous patrons providing human security via vaccines have emerged, and clients are seeking best deals. Then, diplomatic versions of vaccine have nots have happened. Examples are Russia, China, Israel have been doing this. Russia, for instance, brokered the release of an Israeli citizen held in Syria in exchange for Israel financing Sputnik 5 vaccines to be sent to Syria. It has also supplied vaccines to Central and Eastern European countries, drawing them closer to its orbit. Then China has demanded Paraguay to change its position on Taiwan. The policy of China has been to isolate Taiwan. As a counter-attack, India supplied its own vaccines to Taiwan in what can only be labeled as a classic example of power games. Then China asked Brazil to open its 5G market to Huawei as preconditions for receiving vaccine shipments. Pfizer, the US pharma major, has asked Latin American countries to keep their embassies and air bases as security so as to pay for any future claims on its vaccine. Then Israel has offered doses to Honduras, the Czech Republic, and Guatemala in exchange for moving their embassies to Jerusalem, which is also claimed by Palestine. So Israel would have an edge over Palestine in its bilateral conflict. Then enticements of vaccine have nots have happened, and at local level, bribery of officials was witnessed, which has added to already existing problem of corruption in these countries. So, concluding this lecture, we can say that as focus shifts from the enemy, that is the virus, to power politics, everyone would be worse off, everyone stands to lose. It is not merely vaccines, in diagnostic kits and essential supplies such as medicines and ventilators, also, a competition is seen. And like some epidemiologists are suggesting, that we could need an yearly vaccine, the way the coronavirus is transforming or mutating itself, the vaccine geopolitics which would emerge in such scenarios could reorient the world politics in major ways. We know that West and Russia already dominate and have own spheres of influence. Then China, India, and Israel, especially Israel's Teva Pharmaceutical, with their prowess in generic drugs, could seek larger influence in the global south. But as countries seek influence as a goal rather than health, a global cost would have to be paid. Non vaccinated countries or poorer states would again spread the virus, which would again reach the rich. The world is interlinked and trade would be impacted, leading to major economic loss internationally. So, as things seem, everyone would be worse off. With this, we have come to the end of this lecture. If it helped, please like, share, and subscribe.